I'm going to show you how to create automation rules to select the cheapest shipping option for every order in ShipStation. A quick note, ShipStation doesn't actually check rates in real time, so no matter what automation rules you make, it's not guaranteed that every order is going to have the actual lowest cost shipping method. If you want your orders automatically updated with the cheapest shipping option, I'd recommend checking out String. String integrates directly with ShipStation, and it's going to automatically update each order with the lowest cost shipping method based on actual real-time data that's pulled directly from a carrier. All right, so with that out of the way, I'm going to show you how to set up automation rules that will select roughly the cheapest shipping option for each order. So the first thing we need to do is navigate to the settings in ShipStation. To do that, you're going to click on the gear icon in the top right. From there, you're going to click on automation in the left-hand menu, and then you're going to select automation rules. To create a new rule, all you're going to do is click the create a rule button. From here, you're going to give it a name, and then you're going to select the option that says, if orders match the following criteria, and then orders match these specific criteria. From here, we're going to add the criteria that we're going to find based on the model we create in a second. This model is what we're going to use for the basis of determining what the lowest cost carrier option is based on an order coming in and what we can actually read from that order data in ShipStation. And then finally, what we're going to do is go to action type down below that. And we're going to select the option that says set carrier service package. And from here, this is where we're going to select what we actually determine as the lowest cost option based on all those details we figure out in the model we create. So we'll come back to this later, but this was just a brief on how to make automation rules. So now let's talk about how we can actually determine what the lowest cost shipping option is based on orders coming into ShipStation and the data we can read from those orders. To build the model that we're going to use to find what carrier and service option is the cheapest for all the different iterations we're going to create with automation rules, we're going to go to our shipments and we're going to export a list of historical shipments that we can use as the basis for running these tests and seeing what carrier and what service option is the cheapest, when, and where. So to do that, we're going to navigate to the shipments page in ShipStation. If you haven't done this yet, in the top hand menu bar, you'll see shipments. Just click on that. After you've done that, we're going to click the export shipments button. And we're going to have to create a custom export for this, but it's super easy, so just follow along. We're going to hit create new format. And from there, we just want to select the relevant things we need to know to actually run this test. So what are the relevant things we need to know? Let's go through them one by one. So the first thing we're going to want to look at are stuff relative to the actual address we're shipping to. So when we're creating test shipments, we know where to set the ship to address. So I'm going to select address 1, address 2, ship to city, ship to country. We should assume it's the US for this case, but you don't have to select it if you want to. It could be helpful. Ship to postal code, ship to residential flag. We're selecting this because I think it's a good idea to set one test case for residential and one test case for commercial when we're testing all these shipping configurations we're going to make, so you know for absolute sure what is the lowest cost option, and we can create more automation rules if we have to, if they're different. Finally, we're going to select ship to state. We're going to scroll down a bit more. Unfortunately, automation rules don't let us take into account stuff like dimensions. So I think it's probably not worth using this for now. So we're just going to skip that. And we're going to go to shipment weight. And then finally, shipment zone. And then when you've clicked all of those, you're going to hit the right hand arrow button and move them all over here to the export. And what's important about all these fields is that they give us the basis, again, for what we need to create individual shipment test cases. So when we go through and add these in automation rules, we know that based on the data we've analyzed, these are actually going to be the lowest cost options. So I'm going to give it an export name. Let's call it Tyler Test. And we're going to export that data. All right, so we've exported the shipments from ShipStation, and now we're going to open them up in Excel. We're going to select 16 shipments from this list. What are those 16 shipments? Well, we want one from each zone, zones 1 through 8, and we want one that represents a commercial and a residential address. A commercial is like a business, a residential is like somebody's home. And once we've selected one from each, so one residential zone 1, residential zone 2, commercial zone 3, commercial zone 4, so on and so forth, we're going to use those shipments we've selected as the basis for our test cases that we're going to rate in ShipStation. So I'm going to let you go ahead and do that. and I'll meet you back in ShipStation where we actually set up the test. All right, so we're back in ShipStation. To create these test orders and get rates in real time, you're going to want to set up a manual store. It's not necessary, but it's helpful because you can keep this store forever and you can go back, reference these test shipments, and check to see if the rates that you determined as the lowest are still the lowest, and if not, what's changed and what carrier service should you use instead. So I'm going to assume for this you don't have a manual store already set up. If you do, you could skip this part and we'll catch you there. But if you don't, just come follow along here. So the first thing we're going to do is click the Connect to Store button. And you're not going to connect an actual store. We're just going to create a manual store. And to do that, you're just going to type in manual. And then you should see ShipStation Connect here. Just set this up. I'm not going to do it now because we already have one. Give it a store name. Give the first order number, whatever you want. Doesn't really matter. Prefix doesn't matter. And then you're going to hit Connect. Once that's done, you're going to go back to the orders page. And you should see a new store that says manual orders. All right, so you've created your manual store. And now we're going to want to create a test shipment for each of the 16 delivery addresses that you've created. Again, one for each zone, that's a residential address, and one for each zone, that's a commercial address. So to do that, we're going to hit the new order button at the top of the screen, and we're just going to fill out the relevant information we need to actually get a rate for a shipment. So name, you could skip it, make it test, whatever you want it to be, and email, phone number, you could skip it. Basically, all we need is the address. So enter all of that information, and when it asks you for a product line item at the bottom, just skip it. There's no need to add it. Now that we have all 16 test orders configured and in the manual store, we're going to go through one by one, and we're going to test out different weights for orders. These weights should be customized to the weight of the items you ship. Maybe everything's below 1 pound. Maybe it's in between 1 and 2 pounds. Maybe you have stuff that's 2 pounds and 5 pounds and 10 pounds. Whatever it is, you should generalize them into buckets. And we're going to run a test with each combination of address and weight that you select. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're in the manual order that we already created. And basically all you have to do from here is select the weight that you want to test with the specific address configuration. So if it's 2 pounds, we're going to select 2 pounds. And we're not going to select the service because that's what we want to find out later, see what's the cheapest. We're just going to select package because ShipStation makes you select package in order to get a rate. And then what we're going to do is hit the rate calculator button. When you see the view by field, there's an option to view by all rates or just view by an individual carrier. Make sure it's all rates. It just makes your life easier. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take note of the cheapest option for each configuration that you set up, and you're going to add it to your spreadsheet. So if you have some commercial residential addresses for zone 1, you're going to create a configuration for each weight on top of all of those. So for zone 1 commercial, if you do a test with 1 pound, 2 pounds, and 3 pounds, just add the cheapest carrier option for each one of those configurations into your spreadsheet. And again, this test is just based on weight, not on dim weight. So the accuracy may not be 100%, but it's going to be pretty good. So here we are back in our spreadsheet where we have all of the test shipments. And I've gone ahead and added the cheapest carrier for some of the iterations we created. Here, I just did one example, which was 2 pounds for each zone. So I've gone ahead, I've added the cheapest carrier and service option for each zone. And this is what we're going to use as the basis for our automation rules. All right, so now we're back in ShipStation and we're going to finally create one of those automation rules based on the test we ran. So I'm going to call this one Zone 1, 2 pounds. So this is the rule for shipping to Zone 1 and the shipment's 2 pounds. Looks like I missed a letter there, so I'll add it. There we go. Zone 1, 2 pounds. I'm going to click order match these specific criteria. I'm going to add, again, if you have residential or commercial, you'll add it here. If not, just skip it. We're going to add USPS zone equals, and then 1, add criteria. We're going to add the weight. If I can find it. Order weight is greater than, we're going to want to do 32 ounces. We also want the order weight to be less than, an upper bound. So for this test, let's just say the upper bound is, I'll call it 48 ounces. And we're going to set this to less than or equal to. And then finally, we're going to select the action. The action is going to be to apply a service, carrier, and package. And we're going to select the service, carrier, and package that we found in the test. So this is zone 1. I believe the shipment for zone 1 was cheapest with USPS Ground Advantage, and the package we used was package. From here, you save the rule, and all you're going to do is repeat this process for all those test cases. What matters is you make it as accurate as you want it to be. Of course, the more accurate you need it to be, the more time you're going to spend creating test shipments and reevaluating this data every X amount of time. Again, instead, if you don't want to do this, or you always want to have the guarantee that you're going to be shipping with the lowest cost option, you should use something like String. String integrates directly with ShipStation, and it's going to automatically update each order in real time with the lowest cost shipping option. Well, I hope this helped. If you have any questions, post them in the comments below. Otherwise, happy shipping, and I'm excited to see you save some money.